Shurima? Is it time? Has the moment arrived for me to spread the glory that is Shuriman lore to my people?
Nimbus. Is it time for my video?
Well, actually, I was thinking of doing one on Shurima. Azir is my favorite League of Legends champion after all.
Don't be silly, hun. We all know there's only one champion you've got the eyes for. And I think it's time you give her the attention she deserves. After all, you should never keep a lady waiting, right?
Well, I do say that a lot, but this time
Nimbus, fortune doesn't favor fools.
I've always been a pirate at heart. Miss Sarah motherfucking Fortune. Probably one of the sexiest and most badass champions to ever come out of League of Legends and, dare I say, video games in general. But what makes her a captivating badass? Her confidence? Her dual-wielding hand cannons? Her seductive yet dangerous aura? If you ask me, all of these are correct. But it's not enough to capture the bigger picture. Miss Fortune deserves much more careful attention. The type of attention that warrants a full-on theoretical personality breakdown. Cause you know, I gotta keep my psychology gimmick going, guys. It's the only thing that separates me from all the other League of Legends YouTubers. Hello there, how are you? So brace yourselves, lads, for today we steal right into the eye of Bilgewater.
Set sail!
Let's start by revisiting the earlier question. What makes Miss Fortune such a badass? Well, badass is in essence a personality trait, and there's one theory that aimed to organize traits into their own universal dimensions of personality, and that is McCrae and Costa's Big Five personality theory. The short rundown is that these researchers created 5 dimensions of personality: extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, openness to experience, and neuroticism. I hear neuroticism may be changed to emotional stability, but you can't spell ocean with the first letters if they do that. That was a fun fact. These 5 dimensions carry all of the traits ever conceived by the human mind. Extroversion includes traits that relate to people who enjoy being in social situations. You know, all the outgoing people that enjoy meeting new people, starting conversations, make friends easily. Agreeableness deals more with traits that lead to pro-social behaviors, meaning they're more cooperative and have genuine concern for people. People high in conscientiousness like to prepare for anything and pay close attention to detail. Openness to experience has traits involving imagination and exploration. Being high in openness means you're probably creative and adventurous. Lastly, neuroticism deals with the emotional stability of a person, like if they're quick to get annoyed or upset. Neither of us have the kind of time to go over each and every single trait that falls in the dimension, cause there's a lot of them. Like, a lot. Like someone clearly had a lot of time on their hands, if you know what I'm saying. And decided to put that free time to good use by creating a theory that's a main staple of personality psychology. Before I move on, I just want to clarify that no one belongs to one single dimension. Instead, we carry a combination of traits from each dimension, and may carry more traits in one than the other. So someone could be high in conscientiousness, but they can also be low in extroversion. There are plenty of traits to go around. But this, my people, would simply be a taxonomy, a classification of all the personality traits. What makes this an actual theory is this! I know what you're thinking. It's too easy of a chart to read that you don't even need me for this video. But I'm gonna go through it anyway because this chart is the key to explaining why and how Miss Fortune became the badass League of Legends does not deserve. Despite the fact that this chart looks about as complicated as the Kingdom Hearts timeline, there are indeed only 2 major divisions here: the core components and the peripheral components. The core components are considered to be the central pieces of personality, while the peripheral components are personality influences from the surrounding environment. The interactions between these 2 components and all of their individual sections results in the development of a personality. I think it'll make more sense when we get into each section with Miss Fortune's lore. So let's make our way through this chart starting with the basic tendencies. Remember those 5 trait dimensions? Well, this is where those fit into the theory. All the traits that we could find in Miss Fortune would be considered her basic tendencies, meaning these are traits that are so stable and ingrained to her core that she will exhibit them naturally in any scenario she's in. I'm not going to give you every single trait, but let me show you a few of the ones that I found. From the conscientiousness dimension, Miss Fortune is a self-disciplined, methodical, and competent young woman. Those glorious hand cannons of hers were handcrafted by the red-headed beauty herself when she was just a kid, after patching herself up from a gunshot. She also taught herself how to become the most notorious pirate bounty hunter in all of Bilgewater. And although MF is one deadly hunter, she isn't quick to rush into her revenge on Gangplank. No, she spent the years wisely, surrounding herself with a small but loyal cadre of allies and lovers she would eventually use to lay her demons to rest. This woman has a strategy. She will make all of the preparations needed to get her revenge. From the extroversion dimension, Miss Fortune is a confident and sociable leader. If you couldn't already tell from the quote I read earlier, Miss Fortune is not conducting her master plan alone. She has a loyal crew that is willing to go to war with Gangplank, the most dangerous pirate in all of Bilgewater. That speaks volumes of her ability to not only socialize, but to lead and inspire confidence as well. From the openness to experience dimension, Miss Fortune is a creative and adventurous gunslinger. Her willingness to tread through the treacherous waters, islands, and streets of Bilgewater for dangerous and murderous pirates is proof enough of her adventurous heart. As for her creativity, not anyone can think of manipulating a magical teleporting thief and the scariest guy to wield a shotgun to fight each other in Gangplank's warehouse, so that Gangplank could catch them and stage a public execution, only to then have all of Bilgewater see Gangplank's ship go up in flames. On that day, Bilgewater knew the saltwater scourge was no more. Miss Fortune truly is a creative strategist, which coincides with her traits from the conscientiousness dimension. Now, I wouldn't say MF is particularly high within these last 2 dimensions. Miss Fortune does want to take down a notorious criminal, but it's more for revenge instead of the good of Bilgewater. I even sense a little dark intent in her when she says,
I want everyone loyal to him to be brought to answer. I want the heads of his lieutenants mounted on my wall. Burn every bawdy house, tavern, and warehouse that bears his mark. And I want his corpse.
This could also be a sign of some neuroticism since she seems abnormally hostile. But it's important to distinguish whether this is trait or state, meaning whether she is being hostile because of the situation or because she is inherently hostile. I would argue this is more of a state than a trait. She said this when she finally killed Gangplank while every pirate in Bilgewater was present in the crowd. I think Miss Fortune just got caught up in the heat of the moment, but this is still noteworthy. She may not be high in neuroticism, but there may be a little bit in her. Now that we got that section out of the way, which is really the most detailed one out of all of them to be honest, now we can move on to analyzing Miss Fortune's characteristic adaptations. After all, her basic tendencies are just very broad traits that anyone can possess. Characteristic adaptations are different in that they are acquired personality structures that develop as people adapt to their environment. This includes things like acquired skills, habits, attitudes. Therefore, Miss Fortune's marksmanship, bounty hunting experience, intimidation techniques, and take-no-shit attitude would be included in her characteristic adaptations because she adopted them from living in Bilgewater. What makes these different from basic tendencies is that these can change depending on time and place, while basic tendencies are stable. So a combination of traits found in a person and the environment they're in cause people to adapt in their own way. Miss Fortune adapted to Bilgewater by becoming a skilled bounty hunter, but her basic tendencies, her personality traits, are what helped her to develop the skills needed for that kind of life. Not just anyone can survive in this type of environment, let alone thrive as a renowned pirate hunter. With these skills and experiences under her belt, Miss Fortune would have developed a self-concept. A self-concept is actually a part of the characteristic adaptations. but it's a very important one because it partially influences a person's behavior. You see, the self-concept is all of the person's subjective beliefs, attitudes, and feelings towards oneself. It is a characteristic adaptation because your feelings about yourself are connected to your experiences and skills you've acquired. Your self-concept partially influences your behavior because it pushes you to do things you believe you are capable of doing. In Miss Fortune's case, I bet she has a very confident self-concept, which is why she constantly throws herself into situations like this. Miss Fortune's skills and history of successfully hunting down pirates developed a confident self-concept which makes her more willing to do all of this. All of the experiences that have allowed her to adapt are compiled into her objective biography. All of the person's objective actions during every situation, relationship, encounter, and more are accumulated into one record in our minds and has an influence on the person's self-concept. Like I said before, your feelings about yourself are connected to your experiences throughout your life. Therefore, these experiences influence your personality development by directly impacting your self-concept. Miss Fortune believes she is a confident badass because she has been able to do things like clearing out an entire list of pirate bounties in a week, surviving a burning ship, and being the last woman standing in every shootout. You know, I never would have expected love to come in the form of a fictional character from a video game. So far we've explained that Miss Fortune has stable personality traits that allowed her to gain the skills needed to adapt to Bilgewater. These skills have given her a self-concept that gives her the confidence needed to do all the pirate hunting adventures she's known for. Every success, failure, experience becomes a part of her objective biography, which further shapes her self-concept. Those experiences would make up the external influences. You can think of the objective biography as a record of everything, while external influences are experiences that are currently affecting the person. Our personalities are subject to minor adjustments depending on the situation we're in. For example, being at your job would be an external influence that may keep you from cursing someone out, even though you normally are not afraid to speak your mind. Of course, there are many influences I could include within this part of the theory, but none of them compare to the tragedy that befell Miss Fortune's family at the hands of Gangplank. Sarah belonged to a family of gunsmiths, with her mother being exceptionally skilled at her craft. Young Sarah, along with her father, helped her mother around the forge as much as she could, gaining knowledge from the parents she dearly loved. Together, the family forged weapons for anyone who had the right amount of coin. Word of her mother's expertise traveled throughout Bilgewater, eventually making its way to one particular buyer. A young ravager of Bilgewater, destined to slowly take the islands by storm. In order to see his vision through, he requested 2 guns that no man has ever possessed. In about a year's time, Sarah's mother had crafted masterpieces. 2 hand cannons that were a combination of pinpoint lethality and exquisite beauty. The man returned to collect what he had requested, without any intention of paying. Sarah's mother denied his demands, declaring that her works of art were too refined for a brutish pirate. Enraged, the man forcefully seized the weapons and fired them for the first time at their creator. He gunned down Sarah's mother, Sarah's father, and then the man fired a shot at Sarah herself. In an attempt to erase the mother's legacy, he destroyed the weapons and set the workshop ablaze. Sarah awoke in agony within the ruins of her home. She later swore to have her revenge on the man that took everything from her, and spent the following years of her life learning all that she could about the man, so that one day she could erase from the world anything and everything connected to the name Gangplank. As tragic as it sounds, this origin story has the most influence on Miss Fortune's life. According to this theory, while our self-concept serves as a partial motivator for behavior, the interactions between characteristic adaptations and external influences account for most of our motivation for behavior. We are presented with certain situations that cause us to either use what we know in our characteristic adaptations or learn more in order to better adapt. Now with this whole thing filled out, we can flow through the chart to answer why Misfortune is a badass. Being born into a working family of gunsmiths, her parents helped to nurture Sarah's confident, disciplined, and adventurous personality at an early age. These traits would prove useful as she quickly learned how to survive in the dangerous streets of Bilgewater. Intimidation, marksmanship, commanding, bounty hunting, all skills that help her not only adapt, but thrive as the best pirate bounty hunter under her new title, Misfortune. Target after target, success after success, Misfortune gained quite an impressive reputation, which only increased her confidence in her abilities and willingness to keep fighting no matter the odds. But what ignited her desire to go down this path was the experience of losing her mother and her father to Gangplank. Not everyone can survive in Bilgewater on their own, but Misfortune is far from the everyday woman. Instead of becoming prey to the violent society of Bilgewater as a vulnerable, orphaned child, Misfortune took to her mother's forge, recreated her hand cannons, and molded herself into becoming the scariest threat to anyone with a price on their head, especially Gangplank. Even the saltwater scourge of Bilgewater falls prey to Miss Sarah motherfucking Fortune. Hello my people. Just a couple of quick points before I end this video. I didn't speak at all about biological bases because A, neuroscience still hasn't mapped out personality on the brain itself, and B, since we don't know much about her parents, the only genetic basis we can observe in Misfortune is her appearance. And, well, all I can say is that she was blessed at birth. Also, thank you again for lending me your voice, Emily, and I just want to take a quick second to congratulate her. She reached 100,000 subscribers, my people. Congratulations, girl. I'm proud of you. Anyways, that's the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you're new to my channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button and explore all of my psychology-related content over on my channel. Just to sweeten the deal for you, I'll let you in on a little secret. I made this video entirely just so I could talk about my bae Misfortune. And as always, my people, thank you for watching.